That's a contraband item, ma'am, as it is illegal in every state except Texas. Welcome to Primary Technology, the show about the tech news that matters. Google launched their whole Pixel 10 lineup, which now has MagSafe. Believe it or not, they call it something different, but we'll get into that. OpenAI had a $1 billion revenue month. Notion added a new offline feature, and FineWoven cases may make a comeback. This episode is brought to you by CleanMyMac and Insta360, and of course, all of you who support the show directly. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Robles, obviously not at home in my studio, tuning to you live from Dallas, Texas, and I'm joined by my friend, as always, Jason Aten. How's it going, Jason?
I like that we're always friends. That's nice. That's a nice way to be introduced. But
we're
yeah, I'm
friends.
good. I am in my home studio, which is like there's no place like home.
There's not. I can't wait to be back. I will say everything's bigger in Texas is the saying, and we are at the Gaylord Resort here in Texas, and my goodness, this is silly, but first of all, the place is huge. There's like statues of bulls in at least 5 locations around the resort. And there's signs that say, please don't get on the bull. But then there's just the chairs in the lobby, huge. It's silly, but I guess everything in Texas, including the chairs, are way bigger, which is why I did a movie quote about Texas at the top of the show. Do you have any idea, because I don't, what movie that is from?
No, I think you just made it up, or you asked ChatGPT to make it up, or something.
I saw this quote on 2 different websites, so I think I've corroborated that it is an actual movie quote, supposedly by Thomas Hayden Church as Dwayne LaFontaine in Over the Hedge.
You just made all of those words up. I think from now on, you are not allowed to ask me movie quotes unless you've seen the movie.
Yeah, probably. But I was trying to find something with Texas because I'm in Texas right now. But anyway, we actually have some 5-star review shout-outs. Thank you all for continuing to do that. Alex Polar Bear from the UK said we're informative, engaging, and witty. And if someone from the UK says we're witty, I think we're doing a good job. You know what I mean? I think that we're witty. Yeah. S. Jernani from the USA had some very kind words. And WBMC36 from the USA says he loves listening to me and the other guy. He knows the inside joke. It's fine. It's fine. Listen, you helped us break news last week about the blood oxygen sensor on Apple Watch, which there was a software update that re-enabled it. But I didn't understand the rigmarole that Apple is going through to re-enable this. And so after the news last week, I started hearing about how this is actually happening. And apparently, Apple is getting around Masimo's original lawsuit, which basically was going to stop imports of the Apple Watch that had the blood oxygen sensor enabled by processing blood oxygen data on the phone instead of the watch. And so Apple is basically like, well, it's not, I guess because the actual patent is on the processing on the watch.
Or in like
right?
the display of it on the watch.
The display, I guess. So you won't be able to see the data on the watch when you update your Apple Watch, but you'll be able to see it on your iPhone because that's the workaround Apple came up with. And now we're going to break the same news again, but slightly different news because Masimo has now sued U.S. Customs over Apple restoring the Apple Watch's oxygen tool. This is a feature that probably 2 people care about because A, I don't know if it's very accurate, and B, people even haven't had it. And I just think it's hilarious that this is still just going back and forth. It's still in the news.
Yeah, well, just let's clear up a couple of things. First of all, by breaking news, what Steven means is that I got an email as we started recording, and I just read part of it on the show. The only reason we broke news is that we were the only podcast recording at the time that Apple sent out the email.
At 9 a.m. last Thursday.
Don't want to take too much credit for this, but I haven't even written about it yet because by the time I got around to it, everyone else had already written about it. But the other piece of this that I think is very interesting, I will take issue with one thing. I think it's actually a great feature, and it actually works very well. I think we talked about
with the finger thing.
We've compared it to the finger thing, and I actually was at the doctor today just for normal reasons. And when they put the thing on my finger, I made my watch do the thing. And the only real difference is that your watch takes longer, right? Because you have to wait 30 seconds.
I do think your mileage may vary though, because I think my mom, when she had the feature, she thought she was dying every day because it would tell her blood oxygen was like 92%. But
tell her to take a deep breath. Seriously, like that's actually the best part of this is that when it says like 93%, take like 5 deep breaths and do it again. And it's like, I got up to 97.
Oh, really? Well, 97. 77 is not good.
No, 97. I thought I said I got up to 97.
The hotel Wi-Fi. I thought you said
I held my breath for a long time and I got down to 77 and then I passed out. But
Okay,
yeah.
you know what? I've never done that. I've never done the deep breaths and then retaken it. So I'll try it. But anyway. But also, I think it's hilarious. Massimo's suing U.S. Customs, not Apple, because they're the ones that's supposed to be blocking the watch. This is just hilarious.
Yeah, I haven't. First of all, like you didn't actually send me the link, so I can't actually read.
I put it in Notion, which Notion's in the news this week.
We're going to talk
Nation.
about Notion.
We're going to talk about Notion.
There it is. Okay, you did send me this link.
The hotel Wi-Fi. It takes a while.
The link didn't show up for a while.
I'm going to blame everything on the hotel Wi-Fi. If I mess up,
yeah,
it's the hotel Wi-Fi.
My watch, I have an Apple Watch Ultra 2, but I bought it before they killed this feature.
Same.
And I also have an Apple Watch Series 7, which was before they killed the feature. Like, so both of those have it. I actually forgot that the Series 7 had that feature. Like, it seems like that's too old to have blood oxygen, but it is the one I wear every night, and it's nice because it gives you the overnight vitals. It helps you with your sleep tracking, and it will do it passively. Like, you can tell it to do it and it takes 30 seconds, but it will also do it passively. And the experience for someone who's like on your watch or on my watch is you can just open the app and you can just tell it to do it. It tells you to hold your wrist still. It takes 30 seconds. Then it gives you a number and it's great. Right. And you just go on with your day. And if you have a watch that was sold to you since Christmas of 2023,
a Series 8, 9, 10,
and Apple Watch Ultra 2.
Watch in the last year. Yeah.
Yeah. The experience is, first of all, you have to get an update on your phone. Then you have to get an update on your watch. And then I believe you have to to get that update, you have to open the ECG app or something. I heard John Gruber talking about this, I think on Dithering, about the absurd process of doing this. And then it will allow you to take a reading, but it will not show it to you. You then have to go to your phone. Which, to be fair, that actually is a consistent experience, because if you use the ECG feature, it will not show you the report from that on your watch. You have to get that on your phone, and it pushes a notification.
But it tell you everything's normal.
It'll tell you you don't have it will tell you you don't have AFib. It will not tell you everything is normal. It will tell you you don't have AFib. Just to be clear. But anyway, so I just think it is actually weird, because it turns out that the patent was for something very specific, which had to do with processing it on the watch, I guess, and then displaying the result on the watch. And so Apple's like, whatever. We don't have to do that. We have the phone. And by the way, the phone is way more capable of processing and displaying things. So we'll just do that instead. And everyone who has a watch presumably has a phone, and the only people who likely don't have a phone are your kids.
Right.
And it won't do it on, I think, under 18 anyway.
Right. And my kids have Watch SEs, which don't have that feature anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But anyway, all right. There was a bunch of Google news just today. Earlier today, it was the Pixel 10 event, but the first part of the news actually crosses into the sports ball category. So you'll have to speak to this.
Very curious where this is going.
I don't know if you knew I had an arch nemesis. Okay.
Is this the person that made fake TikToks of you?
No. This person, he doesn't know that he's my nemesis, but it's Stephen Curry.
Wait a minute.
And the reason
I know Steph Curry. I know him.
The reason why is because ever since he came on the scene, the default pronunciation for my name is now Stephen. It doesn't matter if it's Chick-fil-A drive-thru. I've complained about this before. I will have a mobile order, and I'll say, mobile order for Steven. And they scroll through their little tablet, and they're like, yeah, we don't have that. And I was like, Stephen R. And they'll look at me dead in the eye, and they'll say, Stephen? And I say, yeah, that's me. Stephen Curry is my arch nemesis. But anyway, that's that. But he's apparently going to be an advisor on the Google Pixel products, which might sound funny, but apparently more for the health, Fitbit, and that side of the products. I don't know if he's going to be speaking into software UI and hardware. I doubt that. But he is actually going to be a advisor.
Is this like when Alicia Keys was the creative director for, wasn't it, BlackBerry or something? I hope this works out. I don't know. Who was Alicia Keys? Who was Alicia Keys?
That sounds like it might be right.
Creative director.
I don't know. The fact that BlackBerry would have a creative anybody,
BlackBerry. Yeah, BlackBerry. They parted ways in 2014, and then the company went bankrupt. But yeah, in 2013, she was named BlackBerry's creative director.
The fact that they had creative anything is hilarious.
Yeah,
there were BlackBerry phones that were fine. I had the BlackBerry Tour, I think, one of the later BlackBerry phones. But anyway, That's hilarious.
Yeah, they
Okay.
couldn't afford to pay her anymore, I'm pretty sure. But anyway.
Probably that. So Google did announce a bunch of Pixel things today, including the Pixel 10 lineup. They had some interesting announcements about Gemini and the smart home, which we'll get to, and something that I'm actually pretty excited about. So the Made by Google event, Pixel 10, the biggest change here, there's a Google Tensor 5 chip, which Google says that there's a significant improvements over performance over previous models. The cameras, there's now 3 cameras on every Pixel. And so different things, but basically they all have a telephoto, they all have a wide, they all have an ultra wide, and improved stabilization, 10-bit HDR video. So they have 3 cameras now. And this is the crazy part, everybody. MagSafe. They don't call it MagSafe. They call it some weird Pixel something. I forget exactly what it was. They call it Pixel Snap magnets. But all the Pixels can now work with all of your current MagSafe devices. And the Pixel Pro, the 6.3-inch models, I guess so the Pixel and Pixel Pro that are 6.3-inch, they have 15-watt Qi 2 charging, which is like normal MagSafe. And the larger 6.8-inch phone has 25-watt Qi 2.2, which we've talked about on this podcast. I know this is probably the least interesting thing to most people, but I am jazzed by this because I'm like, my wireless. But listen, if you wanted to, your entire MagSafe charging ecosystem, which as you know, I have many, you can now use it with a Pixel phone.
Steven's
That's
like,
cool.
yada, 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 Tensor G5. But let me tell you about this ridiculous thing. Actually, I think Pixel Snap is a great name. They just should have used it for the camera control. Pixel Snap
sure.
literally means take a picture. Yeah, I don't know.
That's true.
I don't really think this is the most interesting part.
It is not.
Of this.
It is
okay.
No, it is not at all. I just want to make a big deal out of it because it's me. But I want to get into the AI camera stuff. But there's also there's the Pixel Pro Fold as well. They say it's more durable, like dust proof, things like that. And then they have they have their own chargers and like cases and stuff. There's a bunch of AI features, and maybe you've read them more than I have. But I'm basically looking at it. AI everywhere. They have a visual intelligence type feature, like for Gemini Live, basically kind of like that, but a little more powerful, I imagine. More translation features, similar to like what Apple was doing, like voice translate and translating in messages, things like that. So, what did you see, or what was the most interesting thing to you?
I thought the most interesting thing is that they had Jimmy Fallon like doing this event.
Okay,
and they had Steph Curry at the beginning, like. I think it's interesting that Google is positioning a lot of phones that really no one is going to buy as being like the mainstream pop culture devices. Now, I don't mean any shade towards Pixel's phones. I just mean that like they are one of the smallest brands within the Android ecosystem. So like take half of the smartphone ecosystem, right? And then take a small piece of that pie, and that is the Google Pixel. But that part of it's hard for me to sort of like wrap my brain around. I don't know if it's like, this is how we get more attention for this. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame because if I was going to use an Android phone, I might actually use nothing phones because I think they're at least visually interesting hardware wise. But if I really had to use one as my full-time device, I would use a Pixel just because it's the raw Android experience. I think the Gemini features are interesting. A lot of them feel gimmicky. And, killed by Google, it's a meme because, a lot of times Google talks about these features and then they just kind of like either disappear, go away. People don't use them. I never heard like best take. You remember with the Google Pixel 8, I believe it was, the best take feature where you can like take several photos and then Google will magically choose the one where everybody's looking at the camera. Like I have not heard about that since the launch. And so are people using it? I don't know because people aren't using Google Pixel phones. So
right. I mean, the people who use Google Pixel phones are like Android purists for the most part, right? Because you get the purist version of Android because it's Google. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, listen, they're going to be great. Every time I've been at a Google event where they've had their hardware, it's all very good, right? When they released the first Fold, I was at that. I was at Google I/O, I believe. And like they're fantastic. I have a Google.
You have
a
Fold,
Pixel 7a sitting right here. I've used the foldable. I don't own one. So like, listen, they make good hardware. Like Google and Microsoft both actually make really good hardware. It's surprising you don't think of it that way. it's hard to know, like, is this important because Google, the reason I mention that is Microsoft makes hardware so it can be like, hey, PC makers, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So people will keep using Windows. Those guys over there in Cupertino are spanking all of you. Like, come on, let's like they will seriously, like they obsess about the hinge and then they show everyone, all the other OEMs how to make them. In some respect, Google's doing that ish with the devices, except for there's already a couple of companies, mostly Samsung, that are making the designs that people want. And so it's like Google's putting a lot of effort into this. And I don't know if it's just to keep Samsung and Apple, for that matter, honest. But the funny thing is, like, it puts them in such a weird situation because Google can't market their devices against Samsung, right? Because they're Android devices. So who do they always reference? Apple. Yeah. Do people switch from iPhones to Pixels? I mean, we did have this conversation. I would tell anyone who wanted to switch to an Android phone, you probably should just buy a Pixel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would do the same. But a couple of interesting AI features too. One, like there's going to be like a contextual awareness thing where like Magic Q is the name for it. But if you're on the phone and you need to call the airline, it will proactively suggest pulling up your flight information. So that's interesting. Almost feels agentic, I would say, which maybe we'll do this in the bonus episode. But I have been trying to make another app. I'll save it for the bonus episode.
That's how he's teasing the bonus episode.
I'm teasing the episode because I'm talking about the next app that I'm trying to make and the maddening experience it has been. But the camera. And Nilay Patel and The Verge are always like, what is a picture? He will talk about it in depth, I'm sure, whenever he's back from his paternity leave. But the Pixel phones are saying that they have this like super res zoom where it'll go from 30x all the way up to 100x. But they say they're using AI, even generative AI, to make that 100x image actually look decent. Now, I feel like that's crossing the Rubicon. Like, if you're at 100x zoom and part of that photo is literally generated by AI, so it actually looks like a reasonable photo, I don't think that's a photo, right? That's an AI-generated image.
Yeah,
it's based on a photo.
Yeah, but no one needs, let me just say this very clearly. No one needs a 100x digital zoom photo. Like, just no one does. Like, what do you need that for? Why are you what?
If my kids are playing a sport, your girls play soccer. Like, if you could get a really cool close-up photo in action, but the problem is this is not going to do that. This would probably look insane if you try to do a 100x zoom while someone's running around a field, But I think that's the hope, that one day you can get that action or if you're at a concert and you're in the nosebleed section, you can take a picture of, whatever, Taylor Swift down there, and it actually looks like a real photo. But
yeah,
then you're AI generating people.
Okay, so here's a tricky thing. No, I don't think it's a photo. Also, I don't think people care. Here's what I mean. When I used to photograph, this was mostly true at the point of my career where I was photographing like weddings, which is a thing that basically every photographer does at one point in their career. I had this philosophy that people were not hiring you to photograph the details and to photograph the moments and the portraits. They're photographing you. They're hiring you to help them remember the way they feel at their wedding. And those photos are the way they do that. But what people really want is like, oh, this moment is cool. I want to remember this feeling. And if whatever AI voodoo magic they're putting into these things help people do that, that's what people actually care about. That doesn't mean now at a wedding I was shooting with a Nikon D700 and D750. Before that, a D300, D200, whatever. It doesn't matter. You were taking actual photos, right? You actually had to capture those moments and you had to be able to intuit what was going to matter to people. But most people with a phone don't. It's like, I like the way this looks. I like the way this feels. I want to remember this experience that I'm having in a way that just brings me back to this feeling. And in that regard, I think people are going to be like thrilled if AI makes their photos, quote, look better.
Yeah, I guess. So The Verge, in their article, they have this image where they took a picture of the little Android robot like across the room. And I guess the AI, it's pretty blurry and gross, and then it processes it, and then it hardens the edges and it tries to look a little more real. If someone was traveling, maybe they're in a big city and they want to take a picture of a skyscraper like really far away. You know, like you're saying, they're remembering the moment of them standing there. That's really the feeling they're after. Maybe. I really want to see, and I didn't get a chance. MKBHD posted a review of all these phones like before the announcement, I think, or like when the announcement was happening. And I haven't gotten a chance to see whether or not he tested the camera like with people, because I imagine doing the super res zoom on people's faces can't be a great. Yeah.
Sure. Also, the thing I think that the AI should do is when you are trying to take a picture of a 3-inch tall Android figurine from across the room, it should just say move closer. Like, there is a better way to get a good photo of that. And it's just like walk over to the side of the room and take the picture. Like, yeah. I don't understand.
I will say, so in his video, I'll link his video in the show notes. I was trying, if you heard music playing in the background, it was MKBHD's video because I was trying to see what it was going to do. He was testing a little bit. He did not seemingly do an in-depth version or a review of this photo feature, but he does show a couple examples, and I guess he's saying like, oh my goodness, it changed the color of the sky. So he took a picture here of like I think it's a Brooklyn Bridge, and the original photo has like gray sky. It's a cloudy gray day, and he used the AI to enhance it, I guess, or whatever, and it turned the sky blue. So
I mean, that's not a photo.
I guess that's so you can prompt it now too.
Yeah,
he just
right.
asked
It's generative.
it.
You just tell it. Yep.
That's not remembering them. Well, anyway,
you could also have just taken that photo and given it to ChatGPT and said, "Make the sky blue in this photo," and it would create you an entirely fake version of a photo. Right, like that was
nice.
I don't know.
It's nice to have it right in the camera. I mean, I'll give the Pixel that. If you could just do it right there. I will say, of all the Apple Intelligence features that you can access right now, I do feel like the photo cleanup is actually one of the best. Do you ever use that?
Absolutely. Yeah, on every photo. No, I do. Not every photo.
You remove all the people from every photo.
I just take
family portrait, wipe
just
them out.
Constantly getting rid of distractions, and
that's hilarious. I mean, but I've done that. I think we were, I don't know if it was a museum or something, but I took a picture, us like our selfie, weird people in the background, cleanup. It works really well. Like it's one of the best features.
Well, and I think that if you could say to the camera app, especially on the iPhone, because what happens a lot when people, for one, the cameras on the iPhone are especially the main camera and obviously the ultra wide are pretty wide angle cameras, or lenses actually, and so it's really hard to get a square, like a head-on square shot in most cases, and so what people end up getting are distorted, like. Why like they don't really know like exactly what feels weird about the photo, but like something doesn't feel right because it's like you weren't perfectly like horizontal or whatever. If you could just type to your thing, please like make this not look skew or make it not look weird or whatever, like
true.
Those but what it would be doing then is like lens distortion correction. That's different than change the sky, which is also, by the way, different than, remove these people or like, I don't know. It is weird.
It is weird. I'm curious your experience. So I'm here at a conference. There's hundreds of people. I've been taking a lot of photos with people because people who use Riverside, they see my face on the website all the time. I feel like 9 times out of 10, people are taking vertical photos.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's because they want to share it to their stories. Do you find that to be true? Like when you see just random people taking photos, vertical versus horizontal, like what's the split?
I mean, I don't spend a lot of time just watching random people take photos.
When you're in people.
I will say that I think typically, like if I watch my kids or their friends, they're always just taking vertical photos. Like literally, they just no one takes horizontal photos anymore except for like actual photographer-y people.
But what do you do?
It does depend on what I'm taking the photo for. If I'm taking a photo because it's like, this would be a fun thing to share as a story or whatever, I will just take it vertical.
If I am explicitly taking a photo for a story, of course, yes, I'll take a vertical photo. But any other time I'm taking any photo, selfie or otherwise with somebody, I default to landscape. And then this is the thing now. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tell us, what is your default? If you're going to take a photo or a selfie or whatever, let's say you meet the celebrity you've wanted to meet. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the scenario. You You don't even what? What is that?
But I
funny?
think that's different. If you're taking a selfie, people typically hold it horizontal, right? Because you got two faces next to each other.
But people at this conference, they've been doing it vertical too.
How
But I won't
long
even
are their
say-
arms?
Everyone has massively long arms.
Wow.
I like if you had, because that's the scenario. If you had that one chance to take a photo with that celebrity, that person you looked up to, and you hand your phone to someone, do you ask them to hold it landscape or vertical? What would you do?
I mean,
I'm
I would
also
never.
curious, who would it be?
I would first of all never hand my phone to someone. Second of all,
No one's gonna steal your phone. Everybody's got a phone.
I don't. I would never walk up to somebody and ask them if I could take a selfie with them.
I know.
Like, there's
We talked about this
0%
because you've been
people.
at multiple events, and I couldn't believe you didn't take.
There's
selfies.
no chance I would ask like anyone.
Okay, but your family, you were recently down here in Florida. You were at Disney World. If okay, you're saying you don't do it. Let's say you actually had a friend with you.
We
that you would
walked into
trust-
Mickey.
Let's say you had someone you trusted to take a photo, to hand them your phone. You're going to take a photo of your family standing in front of the Millennium Falcon. Do you tell them to hold it horizontal or vertical?
Well, it depends. Okay, this is a complicated question because framing is everything.
Oh my!
And
okay,
so,
all
no,
right.
no, because like for example,
Okay.
I'm looking right now. I got a picture of my 4 kids, and they're in front of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tree of life. Well, that picture has to be vertical, or else you're not going to have the tree of life in it, right? Well,
Sure.
there's a picture of us in front of the Magic Kingdom with the train station or whatever behind us. That one's
Yeah.
horizontal, so that all 6 of us can be in the picture. Like,
In
it just
photo.
depends. Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm overthinking that. I still default landscape unless there's a tree or I'm posting it to Instagram stories. But anyway.
Now I will say this. I will default if I can't decide. I will always take it horizontal. And there's 2 reasons. One of them is purely just practical, which is I use the camera control. So just being able to tap on it and tap again is like, I don't like to try to do that with my thumb, but I use the camera control button to take almost every picture that I take. So I can just whip it out real quickly and just like do that real quick. I just took a bunch of pictures of us.
No, hold on. Wait, I have to stop you right there because I just saw the back of your phone, and you got onto me a little while ago for the patina on my leather case, and I just want, if you have not watched,
It's just from the leather. It's from the MagSafe thing.
those stains are from just
They're not
MagSafe.
stains. That's just worn. It's just because it's worn. That's worn down.
Okay.
So what you're seeing is the substrate. I have worn this down to the
I'm
substrate.
just saying, you gave me a hard time for my patina on leather, which is a natural process.
Because you had a brown leather with green marks all over it.
No, it was not. Anyway, it was not that bad.
It was that bad. Anyway,
Anyway.
but here's the other reason to default to horizontal. We are so not talking about Google anymore.
That's fine.
But
We'll get back to
is
it.
because I find that if you do a good job and you frame your subject in the middle of a horizontal image, you can still crop it vertical if you want. But you can't crop a vertical image horizontally almost ever.
Thank you. Yes, that is part of my reasoning as well. Anyway, all right, we'll get back to Google. This was interesting. The Google Smart Home Gemini for Home is going to be replacing the Google Assistant on things like Nest smart speakers, which you actually have some Nest Home Hub Max Ultras.
I do. I almost said I have one right there, but that's not true. That's actually just a tablet, a Google Pixel tablet. That looks like one of these, but that's because it literally never comes off of that base.
Well, Google Gemini will be on the Nest Home Hubs, and it should be much better at things like natural language input and understanding your requests. And this is what we need. This is probably why the HomePod with a screen has been delayed forever, because you need this kind of natural language parsing, like an LLM, in the thing for it to be really good. Now, Alexa Plus was announced months ago, and from what I've heard from like Jennifer Toohey at The Verge and others, like it's either not around or not that great. I think 2 people have
I
access
think
to
they've
it.
said 100,000 people have access, which is like, wow, there's a lot of people. But you're like, well, first of all, there are like a billion Alexas.
Well, how many of those people know they have access is the question. Because
Well, that's only 6 people, and it's
That's
none of the
the exact-
tech journalists.
there might be a bunch of people with Echo shows that never do anything with it except play music, and they might have Alexa Plus. But
They just set alarms. You don't.
Yeah,
That's
they
the
set
thing
alarms,
about
yeah.
most of those devices. You don't. It's like, what does it even do for you? Now, something with a screen makes sense because we have one of the whatever name you gave it things sitting on our kitchen counter, and it's used all the time because the kids will walk up to it and ask a question, and it shows photos. That's actually the best feature. Do you remember that, Stephen, the time when the photo frame thing was a thing that people
The digital picture frame?
but they were terrible because you
Yeah,
had
it's
to,
horrible.
first of all, you had to figure out how to get the pictures off of your computer onto like a mini SD thing, stick them in there,
USB
dump
stick.
them on there. And
Yeah,
the whole thing was a complete mess. And literally now, if you use Google Photos, you can just favorite the ones you like, which is a thing people are used to doing. And then it will just show them in the rotation. It is amazing. And it pairs them next to each other. Like,
Really?
you know, so it'll show vertical ones 2 up, but it'll do it based on either the location or what's in the scene or whether they're your pets or whatever it is. Anyway, that's the best thing about the home stuff.
Right. Well, and now, I mean, I always heard that Google Assistant on Nest devices was always better than the voice assistant on HomePods anyway, just as it stands today.
Well, yes, that's 100% true. Even
So
doing very little, you could
Right.
set more than one timer, for example.
right. So it was already better, and now Google Gemini on these devices. That is an interesting proposition. You'll have to let us know. I don't have any Nest devices or speakers, so I don't know. But that's also what we need on like HomePods, because honestly, my kids shouting at HomePods trying to get them to play a specific song, it's maddening.
I do
Maddening
think though, and tell me what you think about this, Stephen. This is an interesting topic on a day that there's nothing else happening. I don't know that the idea of ambient AI that you talk to and that it talks back is the model that people are ready for. I think it has to have a screen. So I don't think HomePods were ever going to work.
I mean,
because think about the decision tree that goes in your head. If I walk up to a device with a screen and I ask it a question, it can present me with multiple options at the exact same time. And I can either tell it what I want, or I can tap something, or I can whatever. But if it has to talk to me, I have to wait. It's like calling customer service and you have to wait through 9 options. Press 1 for this, press 2 for this. And you have to go through the whole thing. And then by the time you get to the end, you realize, wait, was it number 2 or number 3 that was actually the option that I want? So I don't think that the voice only option, I think it's overrated. I don't think it's going to be a long time before it's good enough to do that. Can a HomePod voice only walk you through a recipe?
Yeah. I somewhat agree. I mean, I feel like there's a place, there's a HomePod mini in my bedroom that I use to run my goodnight scene, to play music sometimes, and to turn off my Apple TV. Like, you can ask your HomePod to turn off your Apple TV. Like, those very few use cases, like, I'm fine with that. And I don't think I want a screen because it's on my nightstand and it's very small and unobtrusive.
Sure.
And so I think there's still a place for that speaker only use case. But in the kitchen, 100% it needs to have a screen. And just like when I ask a voice assistant something, which is not often, just seeing the words on screen so I know it's hearing me correctly is a reassuring part of that process. And so just seeing that on a screen of like a HomePod or a Nest, I think is a benefit. Plus giving you the options of like, yes, no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, show me, show me a 2 playlists, or give me a couple of song ideas, and then being able to pick it just by tapping. Yeah, that's a huge advantage.
Well, and the HomePod mini in your bedroom, though, doesn't have any need for AI. It would be better if it understood you. That's fine.
Right.
But you're not asking it AI things. In fact, everything you ask it to do, you could ask your watch.
Correct. Yeah, I could. It is a testament, though, of still how annoying HomePods are, because if I can have a HomeKit switch to run my goodnight scene, I actually have that. Even though I could just talk to my HomePod or my watch, I'd rather just press a button and it just runs the scene.
Yeah. Also, your watch is like 4 generations more powerful than your HomePod speaker, HomePod mini anyway.
That HomePod mini. Supposedly we get a new HomePod mini this year. Those are the rumors. I don't know what would be new about it.
New colors, man. They got to do the new colors.
Colors, man. like I said that. All right, last Google news. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold. I don't know which name is worse, the Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold or the Samsung Galaxy S25 7 Fold, or Fold 7. Anyway. Folding phones. They said it's dust resistant. It's a non-gear hinge, so supposedly the hinge is better. Verge is hilarious for having like an Apple article pulled up on the Pixel Fold in there
on the Verge's website on the Google device.
That's hilarious. I still see a little bit of a crease, which you're
never not going to see a crease. You're literally not. It's never going to be. Is that the goal? Do you think? Like that is not going to be the standard.
I can't imagine Apple releasing a foldable that you see a big old crease down the middle.
I don't. Gosh, I'm happy to be wrong. I don't think it's. Yeah, there's no way, because if you just think about the mechanic of what's happening there, that screen has to be it has to increase in size in order to fold.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, that is true. Listen, if anyone can overcome physics, it's not Apple. So yeah, there'll
Right.
probably be a crease. But anyway, I don't know. I wanted to try the Fold 7 because everybody said it was so thin that it was amazing. I never got to. I didn't want to drop $2,000 on it or buy it and return it. And so, yeah, I don't know. I probably won't try this either, but it looks kind of cool.
You didn't want to do was it Jerry Riggs Everything who like did the bend test on his $2,000 Samsung Fold?
The YouTube channel is not big enough to sustain snapping foldables.
Do you ever do? And it didn't snap. That's like the takeaway. But do you ever do that math where you're like, this video would have to literally do 1 million views in order to make it worth it?
Yeah, it would. And because I don't have a single million view video on my channel, I do not assume that a Pixel Fold video would do that.
All right.
So yeah, I don't do that. All right, I want to talk about Notion has a new feature. OpenAI has $1 billion month, and this FineWoven case leak is pretty hilarious. But first, I want to thank our friend. I'm actually super stoked about this first sponsor because they have a brand new feature I'm literally going to try as soon as I get back on my actual Mac. But CleanMyMac, you've probably heard about CleanMyMac. They have tons of features for helping you get stuff, extraneous files and storage, free up disk space, clean your Mac. But here's the thing, Jason. I don't even know if you know about this.
I probably
They
don't.
have a new feature called Cloud Cleanup. Cloud Cleanup, Jason. And what it will do, it will actually, you can connect it to your cloud services like iCloud Drive, and then it will go and clean up your cloud storage. Restore order everywhere on your Mac and in your cloud. It reveals large files that take up your cloud storage. Find redundant local copies cluttering your Mac. I'm super stoked about this. I mean, I already pay for 8 terabytes of iCloud storage footage for across my family, which is I know is insane. But so often I want to clean up some space, make room in my iCloud drive, and trying to figure out those files. You can do it on your Mac, but it's just not. I'm excited to try this cloud cleanup feature. It also works with other cloud services as well, so it can work with your Google Drive, with your OneDrive. And so I am super stoked for cloud cleanup. But it will also help you take control of clutter all over, uninstall apps. That's another great thing. If you install apps outside of the Mac App Store, but you want to delete that app or uninstall it, a lot of times it leaves those little files in the application support folder hidden away in your... What'd you say?
Adobe,
one of the worst offenders of that. But and Zoom, which I have still avoided installing Zoom on my new Mac Studio. It can also clean up stuff from your messages. So if there's any big attachments like video files and other things, and it's taken up your iCloud storage because it's in messages, it can take care of all of that stuff too. So here's what you do. You can get Tidy today, which is Clean My Mac. Try 7 days free and use the promo code PrimaryTech for 20% off. You can go to the website CLNMy, like cleanmy.com/primary technology, and use the promo code PrimaryTech to get 20% off. Try it out. I'm going to be trying that cloud cleanup feature immediately upon going home, and hopefully maybe I can downgrade my iCloud storage and actually save money on that. Probably not, but I'm going to try it anyways. All right, thanks to Clean My Mac for sponsoring this episode, and our friends at Insta360. I'm actually recording this before the embargo drops for what I'm about to discuss, which is wild. But this is
we're living in a time warp.
We are living in the bookshelf in Interstellar. This is Insta360's brand new pocket camera, the Go Ultra. It's about the size of an Oreo, which is a funny comparison, weighing just 53 grams. It can shoot up to 4K 60 footage. It has a built-in magnetic mounting feature, so you can just throw this on different magnetic things. You can also get like a pendant to wear it around your neck. You can have an easy clip if you want to put it on a hat. It's lightweight, portable. You can get that hands-free point of view kind of thing. But the magnetic, stick it on your fridge if you're going to make content in your kitchen, maybe some cooking content. I'm trying to pronounce all that stuff clearly. You can use that magnetic stuff to put it right there. It's got a 1.28 sensor, so you're going to get great 4K 60 video. It's IPX8 waterproof up to 33 feet, so you can take it in the pool. 70-minute runtime, and with the Action Pod, it adds up to 200 minutes. Plus, you can fast charge it from 0 to 80% in just 12 minutes. That's pretty wild. And so you can use it everywhere. to bag a free sticky tabs with the Go Ultra, and it can help you mount the camera anywhere from winter down jackets to outdoor jackets to backpacks with your Insta360 Go Ultra purchase. You can get that with the purchase. Head to store.insta360.com and use the code PRIMARY, available for the first 30 purchases only, which is wild. For more information, you can check that link down in the episode description. But that's store.insta360.com. And when you're ready to buy it, use the promo code PRIMARY to get that deal. So the links in the show description are thanks to Insta360 for sponsoring this episode. I want to point out, this was interesting. We always talk about, is OpenAI making any money? They did not say profit, but OpenAI logged its first $1 billion month, apparently. Its $1 billion revenue month was this past July. And I guess, it's making more and more money. I don't believe they talked about profit in here. So how much money they're actually making from that revenue versus what they're spending. Their compute is pretty, the compute cost, both energy and dollar amount, is pretty significant. I actually, did you watch the Sam Altman interview with Huge If True, Chloe Abram?
I did not. I did see it in my feed.
It was pretty good. I actually watched it while I was traveling. And Chloe Abram's a great interviewer. I had never really heard Sam Altman talk at length like that in an interview style. So that was, a curious experience. He definitely thinks before answering any question.
Yeah.
And she kept all it in. Whenever she would ask him a question, he would look off into the distance, and then he would start talking. But he says their greatest obstacle right now is just the pure energy and compute cost of all the all the compute stuff that they're trying to do. So
yeah, I think it'll be interesting. They're not a public company, so we just don't know this stuff, but I don't think that they're losing money. There's a reason they're raising as much money as they are. It's because they're spending it. Not, they're still in the phase of we're spending the money that we're raising, not spending the money that we're
right. And they're not public about their burn rate, I don't think, right? When a company when a startup company is in that pre-public phase, they'll talk about how much money they're spending to make $1. So sometimes a company might say, it's $1.50 for every dollar. So we're spending $1.50 to make $1, and that's why they need the investment to keep that pace up. But I don't think they've ever talked about that publicly.
Correct.
Yeah. So we have no idea. So we'll say, who knows? Do you still think they'll go public this year? We had talked about.
Well, it's a very complicated thing because they've got to figure out how to do the whole. We're a quasi public company within a company within a nonprofit, and there's a lot for them to work out for that first. So I don't know. It's August. No, I don't think so this year.
I feel like not either.
But it could very well. It could happen October. It could happen on Monday. We just don't know.
That's true. Because we did. I think last year when we talked about this, it did feel like it was going to be this year, 2025.
Yeah.
But given that there's not even rumblings about it, I don't know.
I bet there's some rumbling somewhere. They're just not loud enough for us to hear yet.
Ah, well, I see. Okay. Ear to the ground, I guess we have to be. I don't know why I said that like Yoda. Anyway, Notion announced a new feature, which actually I think is pretty exciting, working offline in Notion. If you ever use Notion, which we use Notion to do our show notes, the ones that Jason and I share, if you wanted to make a change or see, whatever, you need internet. To do all that stuff, and it's not really made for working offline, but apparently now you can. It's something you have to actually enable. I don't know if it's per document or per space, but you can make something available offline now and then work on it whenever, and then when you connect back to the internet, it will sync the changes like many, many other apps do. But you use Notion a lot, right?
I use it a lot. I was trying to think about this. Am I ever somewhere where I need Notion and don't have the internet? I don't.
Because even on a plane now.
Yeah, but it's if I genuinely don't have the internet, I probably can't do the things. I don't just do Notion things, I should say.
Right? You're just researching.
Yeah, I'm clipping web files, saving them as articles, reading them later in Notion. Maybe I could do that-ish, but I'm only doing that when I'm also trying to be able to find other things. Maybe I'm taking 4 or 5 of them and I'm trying to summarize them, and you still have to have access to the internet for any of the AI features, or if I was going to put them into ChatGPT.
That's
I can
true.
write without the internet, but I very rarely do. And I don't typically write very much without the internet because I can't put it into the CMS if I don't have internet access.
Right.
So I do think it's very cool. I think
Yeah.
this, Google Docs has this kind of thing. Can you make these things available offline? Dropbox, for that matter. Like all these, it's a good feature. I was just trying to think of do I ever use Notion when I don't have the internet? And I think the answer is no.
It's increasingly, I'm just never without internet. Just kind of
Well,
always
that's the other piece of that,
Yeah. Only when a hurricane may or may not hit Florida. That's pretty much the only time. And even then, if the generator is running, I think we still have internet. All right, last thing before we get to some personal tech. FineWoven. It might be coming back with the iPhone 17 series this fall. This was a leaked image. I think this was Majin Buu on X. This is looks like a pretty legitimate phone case. This is for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Tech woven, not FineWoven. This is now.
Maybe no one's going to know. No one will figure that out, Steven.
No one's going to know. It's like that TikTok meme. No one's going to know. Your kids probably know about that. Anyway, tech woven. I don't know. I mean, it looks like it's almost denim jean material instead of the kind of very fine.
What you're saying is equally bad.
Listen, I'm still a leather case guy. And like I said on the last episode, I think it was the last episode, I even have my own leather case color coming out, just to be real.
I don't get Apple's thing. I understand that they probably feel there's a degree of intellectual dishonesty to be like, hey, we're the environmentally friendly and then we're doing leather. I'm not going to get into the whole whatever complexity of that, but this stuff it's going to just be bad. It's not going to be any.
It's not going to be. We'll see if it shows nail marks.
Also, are we prepared for the minion phase of iPhones?
The single goggle over the eye.
This is not good, Steven.
Listen, I think I showed it on camera. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but
did.
the iPhones. Yeah, I did. Yeah, the case from Ondar.
It's not good.
This
is really the path we're going down now. Against
the
our
minion
will.
era. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have to see it in person, I guess. But all the mock-ups and the models, of the big bar at the top, I don't know, man. I don't. At a glance, I don't love it.
The only redeeming. So first of all, the phone back is one thing. The cases are another thing, and the cases look ridiculous. But almost no one is ever going to have to deal with the case that's not on a phone. So maybe it'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm cautiously not pessimistic.
Cautiously terrified.
What's in between optimistic and pessimistic? I'm cautiously meh about what this is going to be like.
I mean, chaotic neutral.
Chaotic good. Chaotic good.
Know.
The last thing I want to say about Apple, if you don't want to make bovine leather cases, just use cactus leather. Just use vegan leather. There's lots of companies that make good cases. Ondar being one of them. Ondar had a cactus leather case in white that I really liked. Moft makes vegan leather cases. Belroy makes vegan leather. The cases are good. And they're going to be way better than
a lot of the vegan leather cases, though, are synthetic, right? And that's chemicals just as much.
Well, then do the cactus leather. I mean,
yeah. I guess Apple probably, don't you think, feels they have to offer cases because people walk into the store and want to leave with. Well, I mean, they could just let other people sell the cases in the store.
Well, and they're the only cases you can have the Apple logo on your case too.
I don't want any logo on.
Well, some people like that. Some people like having the Apple logo on the back.
Yeah, because you might not know who that minion belongs to.
I still like the silicone cases. I always get one Apple silicone case a year for when we go to the beach. That's it.
So that when it gets hot and sticky and the sand will stick to it better?
Well, so it's easy to clean up. I don't want to bring leather to the beach. It's going to get all wet and nasty. So
okay, fair point.
All right, we have a couple quick personal tech items. You had some good questions.
I just keep adding them. I'm sorry. We don't have to talk about them all.
No. You wrote an article, because it was Slow News Week, you wrote an article about the iPad update, but I legitimately want to hear your thought on it because, iPadOS 26, it's finally, quote unquote, what, Apple should have done with the iPad for a long time, make it more like a Mac. And I've been at this conference. I've not had a chance to read it, but you're generally,
That's fine.
you're generally optimistic and positive about this.
Yeah, I think it's okay. There are two things points I was trying to make in this. One, I think with the exception of Spotlight on the Mac, which is great, the update to Spotlight, that the iPad got by far the best update, most important update of all of them. Because on the iPhone, it's just a different way of looking at the same exact. Like you don't use your phone any different with iOS 26.
Fair.
There's nothing different about it. Like, right? It's
shortcuts
not like
actions, but I hear you.
no one is going to use their phone any different except for Steven. But like when we got widgets, that was a big interface difference. When we got the expanded control center where you could like move things around and have multiple pages, that's different. Even when there's a physical button added, when it was the action button or the control camera control, like that's people will use. Liquid glass is just like now you can't read your notifications because the picture shows through. Like it's not, and you're going to use your phone the same, except for that the experience will give you a headache. Like that's the difference here. But on the iPad, things are very different, and I think it's great. I think it's very good. You and I talked about the whole like Mac, like whatever. They don't need to put Mac OS on it. That's fine. This is very good for what most people are going to want. It's still I didn't say this in the article. There is a part of me, though, that's going to feel a little bit like now you are literally brushed up right against that edge, but you can't get through it, which is like you can't just run Mac apps, right? And you can't go behind the scenes. And, you were talking about writing an app. I was telling you I wrote a web app. I can run that web app in the terminal on my Mac and just do things to it. And I can just like dink around and like make my Mac do whatever the heck I want it to do. And you can't do any of that on an iPad, but now you can make your iPad sort of look like the way you interact with the Mac. And so I do think
you can't use text expander. You can't have a clipboard manager.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, we're so close now that I think Apple's like, great, here we go. We did the thing you all want. And people are going, actually, you're so close. You should just go all the way. But I think it's great. I think that I was using Preview on the iPad just yesterday because I had my laptop and I had to deal with I had a document that I needed to like verify like 10 things, and so I just put that on my iPad, opened it and made it in Preview, and I literally just used the pencil and checked things off as I was going through and doing stuff. I think it's great, so much so that I actually put the public beta on my main iPad.
Now so I have one question and then I have a thought, and I want to get real close to the camera to share this thought.
I know, I'm so anxious right now.
Have you primarily tried iPadOS 26 on a 13-inch iPad?
I have it installed on a 13-inch M3 MacBook or iPad Air, but I don't ever use that.
So you've been using it on an 11-inch?
Yep. I first installed it on my M2.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, it's good. I'm gonna just actually. I'm in on 26.
Listen, here's the thing. I'm gonna get real close. I don't know if I'm crazy about it. Okay. Here's the thing. I turned on windowing, and like one of the things I did last night, I was recording for Primary Tech Daily. A couple of those episodes are AI generated this week because it's crazy. But I did record one here in the hotel room, and I just wanted bare notes on one half, and I wanted the Ferrite to record the audio on the other half of my iPad screen. Now, prior to iOS 26, I could open Bear, I could flick open the dock, tap and drag Ferrite to the right side, and boom, I'm in split view. Now, I have to open Bear. I can't drag from the dock in split view. I have to drag one of the corners to put it into a window mode. And now that I'm in window mode, I can flick it into the left side. And then I have to open Ferrite, and I have to drag the corner again so it becomes a window, and then flick it over to the other side. And now I have finally achieved the same split view that I could have done much quicker prior to iPadOS 26. Now, yes, I could just leave that as a space, and just that arrangement with Ferrite and Bear should just be like that. But then, once I'm done recording, I've read off Bear, I've recorded the audio, now I want Ferrite full screen. And so if I make Ferrite full screen, now I have to, and I can't like previously, if you had two apps up at the same time on iPad, you could just drag the little white bar in the middle all the way to one side, and the one app would go full screen. And you'd be just in that app. You can't do that anymore. The farthest it'll go is like a 2/3, 1/3 split. And then you have to basically hit the little stoplights and X out the one app, or hit the green button in the stoplight to full screen the other app. And that's one of the things I would do in split view most often. And it feels much more cumbersome now with iPadOS 26. And I don't know why. Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
I mean, you could still use like Stage Manager if you wanted to.
Well, and that's the thing. But I also can't have multiple instances of Ferrite open, I don't think. So like have it in a split view with Bear in one stage and then have it full screen in another stage. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is like a technical thing. There are the one thing I do miss, which is similar to what you're just saying, but I don't think that they could have this many variations of complexity, is like slide over. Slide over was fantastic because you know what I had in slide over? I had Spark, I had Messages, and I had Slack.
Right.
And so I could literally just slide it over no matter what I was doing and swipe between those three things. And that was what I really enjoyed doing that. And you don't get that now. So like if you want, and I don't even think you get it if you just use it in window mode, like in full screen mode. Like you've lost all of the things you talk. So what they should have done is like you stay in that mode and you could just stay with the past, use those features if that's what you wanted to do, if you're used to doing that. But I just wonder if it's just too complicated to try to have iPadOS have that many different versions of how Windows are supposed to interact.
Yeah, and I guess I just find like if you love the windowing because you can have 3, 4, 5 apps all windowed at once, then I get the iPadOS 26 implementation is better. But if like me, you had a maximum of usually 2 apps that you wanted to just see side by side, I feel like that is more cumbersome to get into that view. And if you could just like drag an app from the dock to one side and immediately go into just that 50-50 split, that might solve what I'm looking for. But just in my experience the other night, I was like, I don't know if I love this. And I don't know, maybe they'll change it, but that's my thought. That's all.
You miss those 3 dots in the middle there that let you.
I just missed being able to drag from the dock and immediately enter 50-50 mode. That's all I want to do. I want to have a full screen app up and then drag an app from the dock to one side or the other, and it's split 50-50.
I mean, you can go between the side and the full screen by just hitting the green traffic light.
Yeah, but you can't have an app full screen on the iPad and then 50-50 split another app with one step. And previously you could. Because you could just drag an app up and
you technically can.
How?
Just you toggling that green button. So I have the 2 apps side by side, and I can drag one or the other over using there's a little handle in between them. But if I go to the app I want full screen, I go up to the traffic light and I hit the green, it goes to full screen. If I hit it again, it goes back to side by side.
Right. But to like starting from scratch, if you wanted to 50-50 split apps, you have to.
Don't you only have to start from scratch once though?
Yeah, but not if you're going not if you want to see Bear full screen sometimes and then see Ferret full screen. I don't know. Maybe this is an asinine complaint, but I don't know. That was just my use case. We'll see. I'll try.
Just trying to help you.
Thank you. All right. Last thing, cable choices. Before we get to our bonus episode, you said, what kind of cable do you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I just realized I had like 12 different braided cables on my desk for various reasons. I've also got one of Apple's Thunderbolt cables, which I understand is a different thing. Steven, I don't even understand because some of these cables are 240 watt cables, so that's good. I've got a MagSafe. I've never taken into consideration how many watts a cable is okay for, because doesn't the Mac just deal with that?
Well, and even the biggest MacBook Pro doesn't charge at 240 watts. I think it's like 100 at the most, 120 maybe. So
that's true. So anyway, I was just curious. Do you have a favorite? Do you like braided cables? I know you like your tacos.
I have I literally have a bunch of tacos on this hotel desk right now because I'm using all the USB cables. I like braided cables the most. I like basis braided cables. That's a lot of what my cables are. And I'm trying to see if I have one I can pull out. But yeah, I like those cables the most. That's like I literally am connecting. I have one connected to this USB microphone. I have one connecting my iPhone to my laptop for continuity camera. I like the braided basis cables. It's my preference.
Okay, now I've noticed that, and maybe this is just me, but I've noticed a thing that I didn't think I ever had to care about, which is a lot of these chargers here have, you can't even necessarily plug, I don't think you can plug this in if you had a case on your iPhone.
So that is why I can't unplug anything right now because then I'll kill
Because
my
everything
video.
will stop.
But I like the Basis ones because the connector fits into a regular iPhone case port, USB-C port. Because there are a lot of them that are like too big for that.
Yeah.
And even like...
And this is why I'm still carrying around Apple cable. Like I have 2 of them
No,
in
you
my
don't have
little
to do that.
bag.
You don't have to do that because this braided one is from Anchor, and they have one that is small enough to fit into your iPhone case. But yeah, I like
So
the
you don't
braided
carry any Apple cords with you?
ones. Only the MagSafe charging cable for my laptop.
Because I really like in my bag to have the Apple ones because they're much more low. Like they're so thin. They're like they're nice cables, but they take up 0 space.
Right. I went with Basis. I just got a bunch of braided cables. I like them. Well, also, okay. Last thing. Did you see Quinn Nelson's Snazzy Labs game show that he did with?
Yes.
You did watch it all?
Wait,
all the
are
way
you talking
through?
about the one that Mike Hurley did?
Yeah, he hosted
Okay,
it.
yes, I saw that.
I saw that. So if I
The Apple brand quiz.
it's
or
the
something?
brand style guide.
Yeah, quiz.
And the one thing, one of the quiz, you should go watch it. I'll try and find the link.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing too. I was
Okay.
like, our listeners should go watch it.
Oh, okay.
It's a fun game show. Mike Hurley basically asks like questions about Apple's style guide. And one of the questions were, how does Apple want you to refer to their laptops? Do they prefer laptop or notebook? And I thought that was an interesting question because, do you remember the answer?
Yeah, they're laptops.
They're laptops, but they didn't always used to be that. Because I feel like if you think back to like iBook days, they called them notebooks. Isn't that true?
Maybe. I don't remember. Like the was the Performa a notebook or was it a laptop?
Well, it's what Apple called is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
Right. iBook site apple.com/newsroom. Let's see who can find this first. When was the last? Oh my goodness. The first one is a May 1st, 2001. Apple unveils all new iBook. Here it is. Oh, I need to share my screen so everyone can see it. So they can see the proof that I was right. Apple today introduced an all-new iBook, the lightest and smallest full-featured consumer and education notebook on the market today, weighing just 4.9 pounds. The new iBook. Wait a minute, I have to keep going. The first 1024 by 768 resolution, 12.1-inch display in its class, FireWire for video editing, up to 5 hours of battery life. Jason, starting at $1,300.
Well, why is that surprising?
Because you can get an M4 MacBook Air today for $1,000. That's amazing.
Well, one, they didn't have M4s back then. And two,
No, I'm just saying, but just the cost of that laptop. It just seems wild. That doesn't seem wild to you?
no, that seems normal to me. That seems about right. Then because they had because then the MacBook Air was supposed to come in like as I don't know. I have nothing except for that thing had FireWire and it was awesome.
That it did. But now I want to just quickly compare. I'm going to look for the M4 MacBook Air newsroom article. Here's the MacBook Air. So they did use to call them notebooks. That was their preferred nomenclature back then in 2001. And here on the M4 newsroom page, let's see, does it call it? Yep. It says, I need to do a Command F. Search for laptop.
Right there in the subhead.
The world's most popular laptop delivers more value than ever. They used to be notebooks, according to Apple. Now they're laptops. There you go. All right, we're going to record a bonus episode. I'm going to complain a little bit about ChatGPT and trying to build my next app. So if you want to listen to that, get an ad-free version of the show, get the daily show, get the unedited raw feed of the show. All of those are benefits if you support the show directly in Apple Podcast or at join.primarytech.fm. Also, leave us a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcast. Let us know what's your default photo orientation. Are you a landscape or a portrait by default? And you can also watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/@primarytechshow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.